It's the most wonderful time of the month. You know what that means? That means we got some more low ink action coming your way. Welcome back to the low ink stream on a day one. We're here to take you through the rest of groups of rounds 4 through 6. I'm Nito. Alongside me will be Electro J, and it's been a nothing. It's been nothing that's not too far off par. But that being said, it's still been a decently action-packed day.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you here, Nito. Like 92 teams being in this low ink, one of the larger low inks of recent times, and also the fact that there's so much talent packed into this event. We're looking at the distribution of all the teams and everything. A bunch of teams are still undefeated going into round number 4 right now, but we are going to be focusing on this match of the Stingrays versus EWfish. Both teams about similar in record due to the Swiss stage. Both have a 2-3 record, so but definitely going to be a very crucial win for them going forward here as we are going to get set for game number 1. Hopefully, both teams are looking for this win to see if they have the chance to stay in the running for an alpha bracket placement. But we're looking at the comps. I'm seeing the Nautilus on the side of Stingrays and the custom X-Splasher. These are some very interesting comp choices, Nito.
And looking at the side of EWfish, it's very range heavy. Looking at the blasters, the Wellspring actually, and a heavy Splatling. So, want to see how this interacts with the Stingrays. They have gone for a more aggressive composition. Obviously, the Nautilus is going to provide them more mobility that you'll see later on, and you also get their range. So more tools to gain in more area with, but maybe you don't need it too much because Tonic is going to take the initiative there on the side, gets one pick down, might get a few more, but in fact it's going to be the Stingrays that are going down 3 players already. Start.
Yeah, Jester trying to pop that splashdown just to make sure everybody's clear of where they were before they could jump out, and Cookies will go down, but Asri on the pedestal is going to get shut down by Goshu. And right now, this Wellstring is getting chased down by the Dapples. The Dapples have just been adapting the same mindset. Is just throw yourselves at the enemy almost and hope and pray that something works. But Tonic, they are getting a lot of picks and trading out, which definitely you can say is a net win in their favor. Jester finding a pick with this Rainmaker. Bubble will come out to stay alive for the Blaster, and that gives enough time for EWfish to kind of recuperate. And that will also be the Rainmaker drop. Definitely a good hold from EWfish to prevent any more progress from Stingrays. But look out, here comes Tonic on the side here as well. Bitoy very weak, popping that Ultra Stamp, hoping to stay alive. But right now it's just not a lot going. And Tonic still in this plat being just an absolute menace to EWfish's numbers.
The Stingrays, it turns out being a menace was the key to success there. There are 3 players down. Love to see how the Stingray responds to that 3-down situation. They will be getting this pedestal, albeit there will be a bit of a delay trying to get on the pedestal in the first place, but that splashdown provides enough coverage just for that push to keep on going. 58 remaining for the Stingrays. You better believe they're going to be getting more points after that. 30 remaining before a hammer puts an end to that push, at least for the time being. Still a lot of players from the Stingrays ready and able to continue this push, but Jay, it looks like the Stingrays have been slowly creeping toward that second pedestal throughout the course of this matchup. Only halfway there. 30 remaining, it almost seems like they're getting ready to eclipse that score.
Yeah, right now, although, as you say, that the Rainmaker is going to get reset to mid, but Goshu is already in the back there, ready to pop the shield and bring it back up. Bit of a really prolonged hold for Stingrays, and they're going to try to see if anything's coming out. The cooler is out, but no, the Wellstring will take down the Rain, forcing Stingrays to move back a little bit. Jester with the splashdown, gonna insta-shard the bubble and getting a pick on the side as well. But the Blaster from EWfish just trying to do what they can, but they can't seem to do too much. It seems to be a bit of a battle that could be snowballing out of control here. A few extra points are picked up from the side of Stingrays, but right now there's a lot of pressure being exerted just from Jester up on height with this X-Flow. But now there's more points are going to get put down. The splashdown will come out as well. But EWfish is still making sure that Stingrays can't get this knockout, Nito.
A done deal for the Stingrays, at least for the time being. Bitoy here with the hammer. No better special to flank with them with that hammer. And it turns to work out fairly well for EWfish. They put an end to the Stingrays' pushes. And in fact, they get them out of their own territory. So lots of help there. But EWfish now looks for the second opportunity to get this across. Try to use this spinner in the middle to get it to the opposing pedestal, but Tonic still keeping EWfish behind. Pick after pick, nothing that EWfish has been able to come up with has been a suitable response for what the Stingrays have brought against the team in orange so far, as Cookies waits for another opportunity to sneak this Rainmaker in. I mean, just look at how much the Stingrays have been able to stall them out, keep him within this sort of wall in the middle. Cookies is already in lots of trouble there, and they go down.
Yeah, Tonic with that giant reslider. Not sure how much special power up they're running, but with the recent patches buffing the damage radius of, or actually no, just the one-shot radius actually, so it would be a special power-up that would get a huge 70 damage radius, because do keep in mind, even though the one-shot radius was increased, the 70 damage was specifically stated to not have been increased. But right now, both these teams kind of a bit of a stall fight in mid. Guess gonna pop that cooler for Stingrays. Actually, as we say that, they have taken it to the stall spot with 13 seconds remaining. Very comfortable lead for Stingrays, and EWfish really can't seem to get anything to get over to Goshu. A hammer throw possibly coming online, but no, Goshu sees it coming and will react accordingly and make sure they're riding their way into the victory in that corner. Stingrays will take game 1.
And I mean, putting the Rainmaker in that stall area was kind of it was kind of the story of the entire match, right? The Stingrays had EWfish's number for what seemed like the whole 5 minutes. Even when EWfish looked like they were in a prime spot for a push, the Stingrays knew how to wall them out, almost literally, to the point where we saw them in a neat little line in the middle. So all of a sudden, the EWfish has nothing to respond with whenever they do have that opportunity to do so. They had the picks, they had the specials, but apart from that, the Stingrays were cool, calm, and collected throughout the whole match.
Yeah, big shoutouts though to Tonic I'm thinking Whip Rays, that's the old team. Stingrays, they were the one always putting themselves into the enemy lines, getting a lot of picks, often trading out, but there was always putting them down numbers that the Stingrays could really capitalize on. It was like they were the main source of aggression for Stingrays, as we will be getting set for game number 2, which is going to be Clam Blitz on Barnacle and Dime. EWfish trying to see what they have. Like, there's a lot of AoE in both of the teams' comps from that last match, and we'll have to see how either of these teams react accordingly if any changes are going to get made. But right now, I think EWfish's biggest point of pressure right now is they got to figure out how to deal with Tonic, or else they just are going to keep finding themselves in unfavorable scenarios, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, Tonic has been completely disruptive for EWfish, and the thing is with EWfish, the comp they had in the previous matchup, Clam Blitz, Barnacle, and Dime could be an especially good spot for them to take a game back because of their range. As soon as you set yourself up in front of that basket, you can use the Wellstring to protect any clam carriers. You can use the heavy Splatling to offer more protection, and yet you still have a blaster there to protect ledges. I mean, this is working well. This should work out fairly well in EWfish's favor, but like you said, if Tonic comes in through the side, it goes ahead and takes 2-3 players down with him, then what good does it mean? Let's just go ahead and I was gonna come up with a sting like a butterfly, but I guess it's sting like a ray, so yeah, that solves it for me.
Yeah, definitely. Like, EWfish has a lot of AoE in their comps. They have the Wellstring, they have the Hammer, they have the Wave Breaker from the Splatling, they have, but so does the side of Stingrays with the X-Blaster, the Nautilus with the Storm, the Reslider from the Dapples, as we see the Ink Brush come out from EWfish, the staple, as you may, weapon from any Clam Blitz games in open queue that you may see, but we're also seeing the Crab edit, and it's going to be a Tri-Nouveau versus Tri-Nouveau kind of game for this.
And that's an especially interesting pick. So what you do now is, since Cookies already runs this Tri-Nouveau, you need to have something so that you avoid double cooler and any incoming conflicts. So you bring out the Crab and at least try to afford yourself more pressure from range. But when you're playing against the Stingrays, perhaps there's only so much you can do. I mean, look at how far up the Stingrays are, and we're only 40 seconds into the matchup. This has been the story for the rest of the set, so not surprised that we're seeing it here, although Tonic finds himself in a very uncomfortable spot, to say the least. But we're still getting a few trades down the line, so maybe not all too bad for the Stingrays.
Yeah, Tonic very much a push forward and hold, but Pitoy is gonna get that pick on Tonic in the brush. Pitoy holding this front line. Even though the score has gone in, they do have the flow aura activated, but they have to be careful against this Nautilus and this Explo. Not have a lot of ink right now, and they're very low health, and they also have so many clams at their disposal. They want to make sure if they can possibly get a ball form for their team. But now they do what they could, and it has forced this fight back towards mid, as Goshu kind of hanging out in their street, trying to see if anything can get going. Tonic in the pit on the street, but no, here comes the reslider, and it's gonna find the edit, but they're gonna get shut down instantly. But like we said, it's just the find some, like, go and pick a fight, go pick somebody or two off, and go down yourself. It might not be the most optimal strat if you want to stay alive, but it works out a lot in Tonic's favor, and especially with Stingrays, as they're gonna start pushing up again.
It's working out a lot because there's nobody to combat Tonic, there's nobody to fight him. As soon as Tonic finds himself deep within enemy territory, it almost seems like EWfish has no choice but to keep holding forward and hope that Tonic just happens to walk in front of him. But like you said, I mean, Tonic is more than willing to go in and see who they can take before they go down themselves, so it almost seems like it doesn't really matter. You do need to spot Tonic before Tonic becomes the problem. But either way, EWfish is starting to take care of business on their own side, get a few more picks to clear out their own territory. 2 players down, and with the crab online, this should be enough help. You want to see that brush, or you want to see that blaster and that Tri-Slasher work with that crab. Unfortunately, you do see 1 player go down instead. So, EWfish, that's going to be the strategy. That's going to be the key for them the rest of the way through, with only half of the game gone.
Yeah, right now, EWfish is just kind of trying and struggling a little bit to try to see if they can get anything going. They're now finally actually getting, this is probably one of the highest places we may have seen EWfish push up right now. The blaster trying to going, I'll try to read that name, but I don't think I can pronounce it. Tonic gonna be out by the pill. They're gonna get picked off, and it's just the Explo. This is the time for EWfish to push in and get a push started. Cooler goes out. First clam goes in, and here comes all the rest of the other clams. They need just 1 more to take this lead. And there's some that spawned right behind, right on Pitoy, who is probably the best candidate to go and run in and get those extra scores.
There we go.
Yeah, Tonic is managing to survive just barely. No specials online just yet. Actually, as I say that, here comes the Ink Storm. But 2 go down on the side of Stingrays. EWfish is starting to turn this game around. And right now we have to see if Guess with this Tri-Slasher very weak, but they do get the 1 pick before going down themselves. And it's just a lot of individual fights going off, but right now it's a matter of can Stingrays take this game back.
And the thing that set EWfish apart there from the rest of the game was that they knew how to follow up with one another. I just saw the Tri-Slosher from EWfish try to follow up on the pick that got the Ink Brush on their side, so all that follow-up means that you continue to keep these pushes going even when you're on the back foot there. So EWfish has the ingredients to keep this going. However, they do find themselves going a few players down there, but Toy on the side, getting splatted by Tonic certainly isn't going to help, especially with how far out the Stingrays are, and they have a power clam in tow as well, so see how these last 50 seconds play out for them.
Yeah, they do get that 1 clam in, and that is gonna be, there will be the lead swap for the Stingrays, and just by 1 though, it's a very small lead, and also EWfish's penalty is not that big, although they will need 1 power ball, and then I think actually 3 clams, because 2 clams will tie it because it will be +6. But here comes the Crab Tank right now, trying to hold this middle of the map right now, but the blaster does go down, but in the Tri-Slasher are going to find 2, looking for 3, will find the 3rd person, but they will go down themselves. Not, unfortunately, a little unfortunate, but that is also going to be a delayed wipe for EWfish. It's very unfortunate situation for EWfish, but they still have a power clam in their hands. This is not out of the running just yet, but EWfish is going to have to pull up something really special, especially after going 2 down.
And what better way to pull something special than do it now? And you do go down 2 players. Tonic was able to take out a few, but there was also that Tri-Slosher. You're only halfway past overtime, but you are in dire straits here. Look at how much teal you have to get through, and you're kind of forcing it here too. Cookie's trying to go for a pick on the side there, but nothing yet, as the Stingrays will take the majority of wins here in this playoff 3 set 2-0. The most important thing that we need to take away from this, Jay, is that this means the Stingrays go up to 3-1, EWfish going down to 2-2, which for any low-ink veteran or newbie, you have to know that 2-2 is a precarious spot to be in.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it definitely, if you're down 2-2, you really got to think to yourself, okay, we're down 2-2. If we lose one more, the chances of us even making Gamma bracket are very slim. Because most times, like, it's 3-3, barely will make Beta, or not, pardon me, Gamma. But if you, at this point, you have to win out if you want to have a chance of making Beta bracket, or possibly a Alpha bracket if your group shifts the way it does and with how tiebreakers may play out. But Stingrays up 3-1 already, definitely in the driver's seat, kind of in charge of their own destiny. These next 2 sets for them are going to be pretty tough for them, especially with the fact that they're going to be going up against similar ranked opponents due to the nature of the Swiss stage that we do here in Low Ink. But they play very well. Tonic just being an aggressive little roach with that with those blue dapples, and it is the big X factor, honestly, for Stingrays. But you got to give credit where credit is due to the rest of the Stingrays roster. They are all pulling their weight as well, and they are just playing like a well-oiled machine. But EWfish does have a chance to put a dent in their confidence with this next game if they can take this next game on tower control Macomart. We'll have to see what happens here if the brush may not have worked out exactly. We did see the brush try to go in for a cheeky solo play with EWfish, but they got shut down instantly. A lot of chances that often works in solo play, but it doesn't work as much as you would think in competitive play, especially with the more team-focused play that you always see.
And the main reason for that is that with team play compared to solo queue play, you can actually talk to your teammates and say, by the way, there's a brush to the side, so we should probably do something about that. So, another W for team play in case there was ever a debate to be had. But, regardless, we do have one more match to look forward to. Tower Control on Macomart. The Stingrays now have a much clearer and easier path to the Alpha bracket. Of course, it's not going to be easy, looking at all the other teams that are 3-1, 3-0, 4-0 now. Altruist beating out Breadbasket Fan Club, but lots to look forward to in this last match. With Stingray still up 2-0. EWfish going to try to take one back.
Yeah, not a lot of comp changes from the side of Stingrays. Honestly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But one thing I'm looking at, I believe it's the bronze paintbrush on Pitoy from EWfish. That's very interesting with the Zuka pick there. You don't see paintbrush a lot in comp, but honestly, this is the one paintbrush that you don't really see a whole lot. But now, as we say that, there comes a Zuka, not going to find anyone on that first shot, and they got to make these next 2 shots count, and they will make it count. Yes, they will 2 go down on the side of Stingrays, and EWfish gets this first one. But look out, here is Tonic in the backside. Nobody knows he's there, and he's going to get an easy double on this first check. Tonic, it's just being the thorn in EWfish's side that they just can't seem to get rid of. And it will start putting this tower back towards mid.
And who else but Tonic, the story of the matchup so far. But I also want to take a look at Guess here. Guess has been doing lots of heavy lifting on the side. Remember, we talked about Tonic. Guess is going to be on the side as well, but not to the extent that we're going to see a play come out of them right now. EWfish has the opportunity to, or at least continue to push the Stingrays back. They still need to have more of this follow-up. I noticed that they have all the right tools for it. They have the weapons for it as well. They have a blaster that can easily pair up with this paintbrush or pair up with that tri-slosher. And how much of a joy would have been to see it on that right stack to the side of the stream there, but we're not going to see that play happen just yet. 3 players going down for EWfish. The Stingrays still holding down the fort, the story of the set so far.
Yeah, very much so, and it's really a lot thanks mostly to Tonic, but you also, like, a lot of the other people. Guess gonna pop this cooler and trying to shark under this ledge, trying to avoid any crossfire. Will find Cookies to take down with him, but Stingrays, they're gonna be back fast with that cooler. Goshu in the corner here, kind of pressured by the blaster. Will trade out though, however. Guess already back towards this tower. Asri and Tonic, look at the attention he's grabbing on this far left side. And Asri has their back turned to the rest of Stingrays, and they will go down because of it. What an absolute job done by Tonic to keep just drawing so much attention. He's, like, really, as we keep saying, the star of this match so far.
And much credit to be given for the Stingrays for their positioning here. Jester able to back up Guess, Goshu, and Tonic on the left side of the map there with this Explosion. Great range, and you're going to put that to great work here in this matchup as you head towards the second checkpoint. Likely not going to be able to cover it then, but Goshu understands the assignment, or at least understands that you might still be able to sneak by a few points. Guess now leading the charge for the Stingrays. gaining a few picks on the board with the help of a splashdown. They've actually cleared the second checkpoint when a few minutes ago things looked desperate for the Stingrays.
Yeah, although as you say that the blaster is up on the snipe trying to, like, that demands so much pressure, especially in a tight quartered space like that second checkpoint. And there is the wipeout for EWfish. It is now, they have a lot of ground to cover in only 2 minutes to go. They have to get down to at least 13 if they want to get the lead back into their favor. But with how Stingrays are playing, they just cannot seem to be stopped, especially with Tonic always being the winner. Speaking of which, Tonic, I don't even see him on the map here, but from the looks of EWfish's directions, yeah, look at him, he's all the way in the back here. Nobody sees him. Here's the reslider. It's gonna find one, but he will go down to the splashdown. Tonic just drawing so much attention, and the EWfish keeps biting the bait every single time. And they always gets at least one person to boot with it almost every single time that we see this. But Patoy is very weak to this X-Splasher. A lot of AoE, we mentioned it, AoE on both sides of these teams. Patoy will go down. Tonic, but will get traded out as well. But it is kind of just a bit of a 2 each, but DBL will pass. They will break this first checkpoint for EWfish, but so much time has been burned off the clock. But watch out, Zuka alert incoming to your location. But right now the blaster, they are getting pinched. The splashdown will come out to try to prolong their life just a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be too much. But actually, as we say that, no, they are staying alive here a lot, and Jester will have to be forced to jump out.
I like the way the Stingrays are working here. It's almost like a work-from-home meeting here. Jester is currently leading the Zoom call. Goshu is trying to provide metaphorical drinks here. Guess and Tonic are currently leading the entire meeting by doing the rest of the talking for the Stingrays. And it's an excellent productive work meeting for him anyway, as EWfish approaches the second checkpoint, but they find their numbers going down quickly here with 20 seconds to go. Cookie's the only one left to lead this charge. Tonic going through this right stack here. 3 players already down for EWfish. The Stingrays have this game set and match, and it looks like it is going to be a complete sweep with 5 seconds to go. EWfish goes down in game 3. Stingrays take it 3-0.
Yeah, we keep saying, saying a lot. Like you said it earlier, Stingrays are playing very well, and it made me laugh with the Zoom call analogy, if you say. Very interesting to see how they play, but they are definitely in the driver's seat now. Like, one very clean sweep later, and they are looking at a potential place to put themselves into alpha bracket later on if they keep this momentum going, because honestly, I don't know if they can be stopped just looking at that. EWfish, like, they had so much tools at their disposal, but Tonic kept casting out lines, putting himself out of his bait, and they kept biting it every single time. We saw it especially in that last one. Tonic was off in the far left corner, drawing so much attention, and everybody was looking at him, and nobody was paying attention to the fact that the rest of Stingrays were regrouping in mid, and Asri, we saw in the crab tank, did go down really quickly. I believe it was to the Tri-Slosher, but Stingrays, a very dominant showing, and really, honestly, very good show from what we've seen so far, and we'll have to see what's next for them.
And it's interesting to bring it. I'd like to bring up the records of the teams we're seeing in Group A, because right now the Stingrays are 3-1. But if you take a look at the Sendo page right now, you will also see what looks like 20 to 30 other teams at 3-1. So there is a easier path for them to get to alpha bracket. However, it is still a decently difficult path, at least compared to EWfish, who now has to climb a much higher mountain with that 2-2 record. But the Stingrays currently looking at almost the abyss. I mean, we're looking at some of the strongest teams to come out of the first 4 games, and we have 2 more to go, so all can happen within those next 2 games.
Yeah, definitely. So these next 2 rounds are just going to get more and more hectic, more and more tense as we go on. Most of these teams are looking at Group A right now, only 2 teams remaining with a 4-0 record, that being Altruist and Neowave. Neowave also running on a perfect 12-0 record right now, and it is very interesting to see what is going to be in store for them. And looking over towards Group B, Daybreak, Wetup, Pitzel per Inc, all currently also 4-0, but Wetup and Daybreak also being 12-0, but a lot of other, like you said, 3-1 teams. It's going to be very curious to see how a lot of this is going to play out, because it's going to be very tense, especially for those like teams that often kind of break even or like go about 4-2. because only very limited spots for all of these brackets. Each group only has about 8 spots for each bracket to make. And so it's going to get very tense down the road here. However, we will be waiting for this next round to conclude. Currently waiting on Group B. So don't go too far. We'll be right